What's going on, everybody? Welcome to our mess. Welcome to our live stream, folks. It's one of those days, man. We're coming to you late. Like normally, we do live streams around 9 p.m. Eastern. Today, we're more to 10:38 p.m. Eastern right now. We were going to do a live stream on another YouTube channel of mine, only to find out it's been on a strike. I've been sort of sidelined for misinformation, which is bullshit. And then so we just was really dinking around trying to get some other things rolling and just was running into technical glitches. So we had to go back to our standard setup. So it's good to see you guys. I know probably some of you aren't going to catch this live. I hope maybe you're still up. But hopefully, guys, if not, you can watch it on the replay. So how are you guys doing tonight? Stacy, I know how you've been doing. We've been pretty much for the last hour and a half trying to get things working. So Aniga's family, what's going on?
Yeah. Wow. Been waiting up for us for the last hour and a half. That's cool.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I don't know. You're coming across kind of pixelated. I don't know. Are you guys seeing Stacy kind of pixelated, or am I pixelated to you guys? I don't know, but could just be internet. You know, sometimes the bandwidths get a little laggy or whatnot. But yeah, he says, laugh out loud. Hello, kind of late. Yeah, it is kind of late. Again, we just got on here. So today we're going to be talking some topics from chat. Even if we don't have people in chat, we had some things sent to us through email. So I'm going to go through some of these different things. And a lot of them are from Bob Fountain. If you guys know Bob Fountain, you've seen him in the shows regularly. He's been in the chat. He writes for Paranormal Underground magazine. So guys, Bob sent me a list of some in-depth questions, some deep questions. So it says Stacy is pixelated on my screen too. So yeah, it must be on your end of the internet, Stacy. Something about maybe
let me get rid of this. There we go. Maybe that's better.
Yeah, I guess it couldn't handle the extra background for you.
Oh wow.
It couldn't handle the fake green screen like my green screen. It's like barely hanging in there too, but okay, so awesome. Thanks, Aniga's family. Let's dive into this. Now, there's a list of topics. I'll try to keep a few of these kind of related. I guess the first one, I want to just start out with more of a space type thing. This is kind of deep thought. And Bob says, as we revolve around the sun and space, we collect material that falls to Earth. This, in turn, creates greater mass. What are the chances that Earth or the moon would increase enough mass to alter its orbit and be drawn inward due to gravity? So, Stacy, do you want to take this one, or you want me to?
What the Earth gets heavier? Is that what we're talking about?
I believe.
Well,
are you saying we're collecting material and our mass is increasing?
Yeah, and we evolve. It happens so slowly. We evolve, to adapt. I mean, that's just, part of evolution.
Well, and I think too that I don't know if there's an actual way to measure. I mean, first of all, is there a true way to gauge the weight of the Earth? Right, like a true way to gauge the weight of the Earth, other than just theory calculations. But anyways, if we are collecting anything, maybe little meteors or whatever we're collecting, are we losing mass? Are we burning off things like we're having fires? We lose trees, reduced to ashes. Bodies sometimes are cremated. I think we lose some mass as well. So as far as what are we is there a net gain in mass, or are we breaking even? Is nature balancing itself out, or are we actually losing mass?
Well,
You know,
the Earth itself, the planet Earth, unlike the moon is a solid uh, gravitational body. They've actually got satellites that have measured the gravitational field of Earth and the moon, and they did the moon first because they wanted to see whether there was some kind of minerals, like heavy metals that they could mine on the moon. Of course, it's all about money, but they did it on Earth too, and they found there are spots, particularly in Latin America, South America, that actually have a stronger gravitational field than the rest of the planet. And the theory is that's where Theta, which was supposedly a planet the size of Mars, crashed into Earth and created the moon. It sent out material that basically created this massive ring that collected into the moon, which is how we got the moon. But the
well,
core of
how do you explain inside the moon the base inside the moon?
the base,
Yeah, like the hollow moon. You know, when they
the
did the
hollow, that
seismic
it's actually
test.
a Death Star that's waiting to get us.
Yeah, I mean they did all the
I don't know
seismic
anything about
tests, and there's resonance. There's like a hollow, that the moon's hollow. So
it. Well,
little theory for you.
who knows if that's actually a metal thing or a stone thing, because stone vibrates too. So,
Right.
It being hollow could be just porous. But,
Right.
Earth itself has a big lopsided chunk in the lower hemisphere that actually creates a stronger gravitational field. Satellites are using as a different for the GPS and all that. So
Right.
it's not constant. It's not a constant. Gravity. Earth gravity equals 1.0, because even that's off. So,
Right. But I think, again, I think there's got to be some type of gain loss, like a net gain, net loss. So, as far as if it's significant enough, remember in space, weight is different, right? And Earth is in space. I mean, it's such a small planet compared to the sun, the gravitational things like that. So, as far as enough mass to affect the gravitational orbit along the sun, I don't think so. That's just me. I don't think we're creating enough mass. Now, like if the moon runs into us, or something, or we run into the moon, I think that might be different. Like that'd be some major force and things like that. Kind of like the equivalent of getting out and pushing a spacecraft in space. There's no resistance. If you had like a few little jet packs or something you could push a whole spaceship probably, right? So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's like a full thing. So let's move on. I think that's a pretty good question. No, I do. I like to think about stuff like that. So I'll give you one, Stacy. This is about spirit guides. Okay. And Bob wants to know, does a spirit guide need to be in spirit, or can your spirit guide incarnate with you and advise you as your friend, family, or someone you meet by chance?
you mean, does it have somebody alive, or can it be somebody that's alive?
Right. I mean, could your spirit guide be someone that you like, a friend or someone you meet by chance? Like how when you meet somebody in your life and then that changes your life for a little bit. Or is it, like you said, does it have to be in spirit or can it be incarnate?
Typically, it's in spirit. Being incarnate at the same time adds a whole Back to the Future kind of thing to it, where the person is alive right now. Like, I could be your spirit guide, but I still have to at some point die. My spirit goes back in time and then becomes your spirit guide. In this time now, even though I'm standing here talking to you, I'm actually next to you in spirit form, trying to guide you as well. But
Why does it feel like if I was drinking a drink from Tron?
something with the green screen. I don't know. Is it blue? Or is
That's
that
cool
green?
looking. It's like a kind of a light blue, so it's probably coming off as a green almost. But okay, well, I would just say to this that I think it's more of a in-depth question when it comes to destiny, right? I think your spirit guide is probably again in spirit. I think that there's people there. Obviously, I have a spirit guide. It's a male that starts with the letter S, and I did find out that we never met in real life. So it's not like it's a relative. They weren't related to me. Mm-hmm. So, and that's going to get something later. There's another question regarding spirit guides as well. We'll get into that in a second too. But ultimately, I think that as far as people that you physically meet, I think, again, that could be maybe that part of destiny or fate, right? When you run into those people in your life that sometimes they're just in your life for maybe a day, a moment, maybe a week, month, year, 10 years. I mean, who knows? But I think that, some of these people that impact your life, maybe they were part of God's plan. Maybe that was just, maybe it just depends on how your outlook of destiny is and those type of things. I think there is a little bit of romantic element to that, where you could say, yes, there's some people in your life that you're meant to be there. Often we talk about soulmates and, like my wife and I talk about this and, that apparently we were soulmates in some other lives, in some previous lives. So it's like, do we then in the next go around, do we have to find each other faster? We didn't find each other till later in life, those type of things. So I find it fascinating.
That's the thing with soulmates, is that you don't find each other until you're ready for each other. And depending on the life that you choose, you may not be ready for each other until, well, the old folks home. Spend an entire life with somebody else or doing some other, weird thing, and then the retirement center, you find each other.
Right. Well, who knows? I mean, maybe who knows? But in any case, as far as Bob's question, does the spirit guide need to be in spirit, or can he reincarnate? I mean, again, there could be some influence, some, what do you call it, like a divinely influence, where maybe there was a seed planted by either a spirit guide or by God or somebody, an angel or something, that could have planted a seed into like somebody's head that was like, let me talk to Josh. Let me talk to this guy right here. And then some guy randomly comes in your life and maybe he says something that, changes a little bit of outlook. I met a guy that, got me to think beyond the box a long time ago. And we didn't become lifelong friends, things like that. We were only friends for a short period of time, right? But by meeting him and him asking me a simple question, like putting me in a simple scenario, it opened my eyes. And I'm like, I never thought about it like that. And then it just changed my outlook, for the rest of my life so far. So, okay, I know you guys are probably wanting to know. So all it was this. I used to work like a slave to any job I had, military, when I got out of the military, so whatever. I got in the corporate world. I was like a major sales rep, kicking ass, one of the top sales reps in the Panhandle of Florida, and then moved on to marketing management. Was running this corporation for this, or running a right-hand man. I was the right-hand man to a branch in the Panhandle of Florida, running for this company. And my friend just said, Josh, let me ask you a question. He said, how much money did you sell for that company last year? Just gross numbers. How much money did you sell for the company? I said, I'm like proud. I'm like, I sold $350,000 worth. He's like, okay. He's like, but what if you sold that for you instead? And it just got me thinking. I'm like, well, shit, I'd probably have a lot of money. He's like, why are you doing, why can't you sell that stuff for yourself? Like, why, he just opened my eyes to hello. And then it just started that whole path of entrepreneurship. I ended up going on to run 3 businesses over a 4-year span and making money. And sold the businesses and stuff, being stupid, went back to corporate world because I needed benefits for Terry Lynn, who we were having our later in life kid. And so I needed benefits, sold my company. I mean, it's things you did then later on, you're like, man, why did I do that? But anyways, I don't want to get sidetracked. So, but I just wanted to share that life-changing bit of advice. So if you all think about it, maybe it'll impact somebody else watching. Tandy Molnar, I did notice you pop in there saying it's all good. How you doing? And then let's see, there is something here. Oh yeah, this other question. So it says, if you die and want to be a spirit guide to a loved family member, do you have to have certain prerequisites to be allowed to act as a spirit guide? Do you have to have many, many lifetimes under your belt to be allowed to help another soul spiritually? Basically, do you have to be certified to be a spirit guide? This is like typical Bob question right here for sure. But, it's a good question. I like it. I like the real in-depth stuff, Stacy.
Okay. Everybody has a mission in life. You can call it destiny or whatever, but before you're born, you actually agree to it. That mission is paramount. So a spirit guide actually has to align itself with your mission, because that is what it's for, is to get you to fulfill whatever destiny or whatever mission in life, whatever lessons you need to learn in this life to make that come about. And they get brownie points for that too. It's sort of like all rising tide lifts all boats. But if they're going to work against you, they want the area that they want, that there won't be a spirit guide for very long. It's
right.
It's all about you at that point, trying to get you to do the things that you need to do in this life. And you may find that you're way off on your life mission. The spirit guide can bring you back, usually through strange events, strange coincidences, strange, like what you were just talking about before with going from being in sales to owning your own company. You being able to learn that lesson in life. This person was inspired probably by your spirit guide to get you to do that, for whatever reason. Something you needed to learn by going through that process. It wasn't the business itself that you needed to do. It was the learning processes of the business that you needed to acquire, because something in the future is going to require those skills, and you need those skills ahead of time and those experiences ahead of time to succeed in your actual, what you got going on. So it's very Rorschach test, or what's that mouse trap that's got where a ball goes from one end to the other. It's like a domino kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a lot like that, where it's the better mousetrap.
Right.
But it goes through this mess of stuff just to get you there. Spirit guides are like that. They will draw you back and point you in the right direction, usually when you want it the least.
Right. I personally think that they're chosen. I think they're chosen probably either by God themselves, or I do like to think that there is a pyramid structure, so to speak. Because if you really look at, again, I'm not trying to be faith based, But if you really look, and there's some other um, religions that talk about God and angels and things like that. But even in Christianity, for example, when you have there's a lot of talk about, of course, God and His Son Jesus, but talks about specific angels, uh, Archangel Michael, and Gabriel and Raphael and things like that. Some of these, and they have very specific roles. So even if you just pick up on these clues, it almost tells you, yes, there's a hierarchy of angels. There's the story of the 200 watchers, the fallen angels that were watchers that fell to earth. So again, that tells me, as far as like, there's like this lower tier of watchers. Well, what do you think the function of a watcher angel could be? If they're watching over man, right? Could be guardian angels or whatever, right? But these watchers, and then there was again these other angels that have these specific roles, like Michael and Gabriel and things. And of course, like I said, so it looks as if there is a hierarchy system. So I'm sure at some point there is, because of there's so many probably spirit guys, the numbers, right? There would be a lower tier position, but at the same time heavenly. I'm not trying to downgrade spirit guides, but I'm just saying that I think that they're probably chosen, and they probably are chosen for the type of person that they are. I'm sure spirit guides, they're because they often have to teach you in a way or guide you in a way that almost is wise. I think that there has to be some of that wisdom, leadership, maybe there has to be something. So I think there has to be some qualities there, possibly. I don't know. I'm just kind of.
You're not wrong.
I'm theorizing.
The Book of Mediums, which, if for those who don't know, is written by Alan Kardec. He was a scientist who was a cynic on the paranormal and all things spirit in the late 1800s. He ended up suffering a head injury, and then suddenly could listen and hear spirits. He had mediums and such that he came in contact with, which helped him develop that. And in so doing so, he was a scientist at his core. So
Right.
He treated it from a point of view of science. And he basically wrote down everything that was being said in these seances. He would have a list of questions, very much like what Bob is doing. These kinds of questions on the technical aspects of this and that and the hierarchies of this and that. And it's very dull reading because it's written in, 1800s English. It originally was Spanish, but it's in English, and it's very dry, dull, scientific reading. However, if you can get past all that, they talk in great detail on what spirit guides are like. And your spirit guides aren't a fixed thing, and it's all volunteer on their side. You can have a spirit guide when you're an infant through you being a toddler, and have it change right when you start hitting puberty. And then through your puberty years, you've got a different one until you hit your young adulthood. And it changes again. It doesn't necessarily do that, but it's common for it to do that, where your spirit guides kind of like take shifts based off.
Can you imagine just like they tap out? There's like,
yeah,
the dude's like, oh shit, his balls just dropped. He hit puberty. Oh my god. They're like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with the puberty years. Bob, can you come in? Come here. You're good with preteens. You're good with preteens. Get in here, tag. Right. High five. You're it.
It's very much like, going from grammar school to high school or junior high to college. You have different teachers and different levels of education, and people who specialize in that level of education that, guide you along the way. Spirit guides are very much the same way, where they have a forte in a particular level of life. They know a lot about this particular point in life, and they can help you in this. And then as you get to a different stage, and and it goes all the way through old age that way. You don't have the same one all the way up until you're on your deathbed. Um, and that's common. It's not, written in stone that way, but that's what the Book of Medium says. And it makes sense when you come to think about it, because you want to have the best guidance you can in this particular moment. You don't want somebody who's, still working on infant Stacy, guiding me through life now, because I'd never learned anything. I wouldn't learn the right things.
Right.
So it's a graduating scale, and not different, very far different from what you were just talking about, the hierarchy.
Right.
It's a graduating scale.
Well, again, this is just my theories, folks. My opinions. No misinformation here. We're just giving you our opinions, our opinions and theories. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, let's switch to reincarnation. Okay. If you believe in reincarnation, so let's just assume we all believe in reincarnation right now. Reincarnation, karma, and soul contracts. There's an interesting question that arises. This is what Bob says. While in spirit, if you agree to murder some other soul because it is a lesson they want to experience in the material world, would you be punished through karma or rewarded spiritually for dealing with the repercussions of being a murderer and helping the other spirit to evolve spiritually?
Well,
Bob has shit out there, man. He's thinking. Like, he puts a lot of thought into this shit.
Yeah, no one's destined to be a murderer. That's part of the problem here. These are choices that you make in life based off.
This sounds like two spirits sitting around like, hey man, can you murder me when we get into the physical world? Because I'm supposed to evolve. Like, I don't know. Could you even do that? And I guess if you did do that, if you agreed to that, I guess what would be the consequences?
Yeah, I'm sure there would be intervention at that point, because it would be like gaming the system, and there's no lying, no gaming the system on the other side, because your thoughts are known by everybody. I mean, there's no, I have my own personal thoughts and I'm going to think my own thing. It doesn't work that way. We don't have a voice. We don't have sound. The only way we communicate on this other side is through thought. And it's as honest as you can get. So if you start gaming the system, it's not going to work, just by default.
See, I'm going to be fucked if I go to heaven, man. I think things. If my thoughts carry, if everybody can hear my thoughts in heaven, that's going to suck. There's no way.
Yeah.
I got to have some private thoughts, because I could just imagine I'm up there and I'm like, dude, my wife's looking pretty hot with her new angel wings and shit, or her new heavenly body. And everybody's be like, oh, we heard that.
Yeah.
Hello. We are live. Yeah. We're live on the Everything Paranormal show. No, we're live. We have Niga's family here, and Tandy Molnar was in here. We've been talking away. I just talked about how hot you were going to look in heaven, and people are going to hear my thoughts. All right, I love you. Bye.
See, she could hear your thoughts and called you up, saying,
right?
What the hell?
I know. No, we're really scary about shit like that, though. There's so many times we've had these crazy moments. Even our son's like, "You guys are really linked." I mean, that's crazy. But okay, so yeah, so for those of you just joining us, we have been going through Bob's email to me of a variety of show topics. That's the only way I'll be hot again. Stop it. You're gorgeous. All right, so okay. All right, so he talked about so yeah, I would say that I don't know if you're in spirit, I cannot imagine another spirit even agreeing to murder another soul. Like, what's the lesson they want to experience in the material world, anyways? To be murdered? Like, that doesn't seem like it would be like if you're actually trying to line up your own hit, like, hey man, can you take me out? Because I've got to learn death. I got to learn how to be murdered. I don't, that doesn't make sense to me. So I'm not sure.
There are circumstances like sudden infant death syndrome. It's been described to me through seances that the sudden infant, it was someone who wanted to be born because they had been aborted so many times. They just wanted the experience of being born. And once that happened, they're like, all right, that's cool. I'm done. And left. And that was, it was no fault of the mother or nothing of that kind. It was just that spirit wanted the experience of being
Right.
born.
Well, I don't think when that baby's soul, the sudden infant death syndrome, I don't think another spirit volunteered, like, I'll kill the baby in spirit or something like that. I think obviously must have been other arrangements or so I don't think that'd be the case because that'd be pretty messed up. So I guess okay, so let's talk about in between lives because this is also carnation, reincarnation stuff. So if you're in between lives and your planet is destroyed, what would be the protocol you would use to find a new planet? Would you try and find a planet whose dominant species was bipedal, or try something different, such as having wings or gills? Do you think you have a choice? And remember the planet you originally came from.
I don't think there's any say in that whatsoever.
Right?
You know, if you got a mission to learn something, you got to go someplace where you can learn something. And you can't learn something if you're underwater all the time.
I think Bob's been getting the really good drugs now.
Seriously.
Because he's had some pretty crazy questions tonight. And I'll have to tell Bob to watch the show. He probably couldn't make it to this late tonight. So I'll have to send him another text, be like, hey, we ended up doing a paranormal show about your topic. So go in there and watch it. I would say, look, first of all, how do we know that? And again, I'm just theorizing. I'm just throwing shit out there, deep thoughts. But like, how do we know that maybe we are part of a level system in that sense of maybe we don't necessarily come back to Earth? Maybe we do. I mean, according to when I did some Dowsing Rod sessions and was learning some things about my wife and I, right? But what if you do finally achieve and you beat Earth, right? Like video game system. You keep going back, you're going through these different lives, and finally you achieve victory and you beat the level Earth, and then you go to another planet. You know, we don't know. Maybe God's like, okay, now level 2. You know, now you got to go to this planet and go through this system, and then maybe the reward for beating Earth, maybe you remember things from Earth. And you go to the next thing, and everybody there knows about Earth, but that's part of the process. Like you go down there, you're part of this new planet. People talk about their lives and stuff. That's like, that's just part of their evolution. But now there's other challenges, and the society works in a different way. Who knows? I don't know. Like there could be those things. Or maybe you don't remember and you go and you're like, okay, fine. Although I hate the not remembering thing. I think that's stupid. That's the thing that always pisses me off about reincarnation and all this crap. That's the one thing I hate. It's like, I want to know, like, I don't want to have my memory deleted or whatever. I don't, even if it's temporary, even if like, well, in the end of all this, you're going to remember everything. Like that sucks. Like, you know?
Well, you know, there's a lot of theories on why that is. You know, some people, you know, some say a lot of people that when you are still learning to speak what language, you're a little toddler, that you actually do remember, but it's more like a dream. It's more
Right.
like,
Well,
what
that 2 to
was
5 year, like when the kids recall
right,
stuff.
right. And they've documented several cases where, kids have, pointed out who they were, like in World War II. They got a picture
Right.
of them, and they knew exactly what they were doing, their job was, all that kind of stuff. And once they hit the age of like went into kindergarten, all of that started to fade. They forgot. And people asked them later as adults, what did you think? And he's like, I don't remember any of that. But they had him on video saying these things, So it's like,
And I
the
talk about that specifically in my paranormal book,
ah
available on Amazon. Shameless plug. But you're talking about, I actually talk about Dr. Jim and like from the University of Virginia. And I talk about specifically some of his cases, or I talk about that. So, anyways, but yeah.
well, that all that means in truth is that those memories are still there. It's just you've got a lot of crap that you're dealing with now that is in the way. Through regression hypnosis, you may even put those back into the forward, but the memories of what you did prior, they haven't gone anywhere. You still have them. You remember them actually in part of your near-death experience or when you die. All of that stuff comes flooding back. So um, it's just the human mind is pretty weak when it comes down to it. It's runs on 23 watts of power. That's not even a good light bulb, you know, and it's supposed to process everything. The conscious part of your brain, the one that you use to process everything that's
I think
going
it's
on.
more impressive than you realize.
Well, I mean, it has a memory or a processing buffer of around 64K. I mean,
Right.
that that's not a lot to do anything. That's why you can be distracted
Right.
by
But,
texting and driving at the same time.
but what, look how long our fucking battery stays charged. I mean, look
Yeah,
how long we last. I mean, what you don't see 23-watt sources last 80 years or 100 years or whatever, still running off the same power supply, so to speak, without actually getting, I mean, but I think there's something to be said about the power of life as well, even though, yes, it's not, we're not fucking shooting out electric bolts out of our hand and shit. We're not exactly Zeus, but but I do think that the 23 watts can be impressive if you think about it in that sense. I'm just throwing shit out there, Stacey. I think
yeah.
it's
Well,
fun
we've
on
got
that.
we've got levels to the brain, the processing and the thinking and the logical side of our brain uh, is what we use mostly in life. That's not the biggest part of our brain. Our unconscious mind, where these memories reside, is the biggest part of our brain. It's what is being used to store that. We just don't use it a lot. That 10% of your brain is what most people use. That is what they're talking about. Um, that 64K of processing buffer uh, really is the max that it can handle. Uh, the military has been trying to increase that, to where you're using 40% of your brain, blah blah blah. It's ridiculous. Any they try and do that to, they end up losing their minds. They end up going insane. You know,
Yeah,
it,
probably. I mean, God, I couldn't even imagine trying to, when I am in the zone and I'm gonna have like all this multitasking shit going on, everything else. But I couldn't imagine having just 4 times that ability and everything else. Now, I mean, I do see some pretty impressive people out there that can do some pretty impressive stuff with their brains. But yeah, it's just crazy. And they're not even still tipping anything over probably what 14 is the max, I think, or something.
yeah. Well, interestingly enough, women, their brain chemical and brain chemistry it is a lot different than men, for a lot of reasons. But women have evolved to actually be better at multitasking. Men, on the other hand, are better at high focus. because we're the hunters. That's what we evolved to do, literally for tens of thousands of
Meat.
years. Yeah.
Meat.
We were incredibly focused on being in the wild and hunting. Where women were multitasking and being able to do many things in the camp or at home base simultaneously. And when it comes to multitasking,
You're sounding sexist, Stacy.
it's just the way that it is. You know, women are more verbal, men are more visual. It's just the way we evolved.
I know, and that's the thing. There's just things of how it is. It's just how it is, you know.
Yeah.
So okay, so I was just thinking about something. All right, so let's get some things out of the way, folks. One, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but Paranormal Underground magazine. If you haven't, most of you guys that watch the show, I'm sure you guys have a subscription. If you don't, it's free. Go up there. For those of you first timers that are here, thank you so much. Subscribe, like, share, you know, all that stuff. I mean, that's kind of the way of the world now. I have to say it. If I don't say it, then for some reason I'm going to feel like you're not going to do that. But I have faith in you. But go to Paranormal Underground magazine if you like paranormal. It's easy. Go there and just say, hey, I'd love to have your magazine. Josh sent me, and they're going to give you like a year for sure for free. There's no credit card to sign up, nothing. Just go and you'll end up getting this awesome magazine, fully illustrated, like Bob Fountain writes for them, all this stuff, and you're going to get in there. Now, and like I said, it shows up like the first of every month. Now, as far as announcements goes, I talked about this. CreepyCon, August 26th, 27th, 28th, Knoxville, Tennessee. Coming up this August, I'm going to be there. Terry Lynn's going to be there. You know, we're going to be there. And there you'll be able to buy some amazing creations that we have. I'm going to be doing book signing, like selling my book and doing book signing stuff. I believe they're wanting me to do like a 90-minute workshop on like the do's and don'ts and how to be a ghost hunter. And we got some special guests with that. So we're definitely got a lot going on, and I will hope to see if any of you guys are close to the Knoxville area. We're talking at least a 2-hour radius, right? Then, you know, August 26th, 27th, 28th, go there. The tickets are online. I think you can buy them online, or you can just go there, I'm sure. But go there. It's going to be a blast. They got these contests. There's going to be a ton of vendors there. Like I said, you're going to get to come meet us and see us in person. I look forward to it. So definitely, guys, CreepyCon 2022. Look it up. Type it in there in the Google. Not right now. Later on. Unless you can multitask, but I'd rather you watch the show right now than later on. You can go check it out. So, but you can buy my book. Also, you know, we just like to get all of this stuff so that way you guys know all these, you know, outlets, everything that you can go and get more content. So if you want more from Stacy Tallis, you want to learn from him, he's got courses on Udemy, you know, courses offering a variety of things. Stacy, do you want to talk a little bit about your courses real quick and just kind of give them a quick little rundown?
Sure. I've got about 15 courses that the vast majority of them are dealing with remote viewing. And for those who don't know what remote viewing is, it was originally set up by the United States military to do their psychic spy program, where they actually learned how to create psychic spies, not through people who were already psychic, but who were as psychic as a rock. They would take grunt soldiers and turn them into intelligence gathering psychics anywhere in space or time, be able to target information that they wanted to know. And the program went on for 20 years. And after the 20-year period, it went public. And those who were in the program, you know, decided to teach civies like myself. And, you know, I learned it from Major Ed Dames, you know, personally. Not a lot of the stuff that people put out there are these videotapes and the DVDs and things of that kind. I went with that Dames personally and learned how to do remote viewing, and now I teach it the way he taught me. Also, there are courses on hoodoo and conjure, which is basically folk magic uh, in the South. There's a lot of stuff that is origin from what we call ATRs, African tradition religions. They've stripped the pantheon away from them and just use the elements of the religion, the rituals, to create hoodoo and conjure. And you know, basically, if you want good luck or you want to curse your ex, it's how you do it.
Awesome. So, also, when you guys go to CreepyCon, we're going to have some available things. I just wanted to show you guys. So, like, here is one example of, and I know with my green screen, you're probably missing out on the full awesomeness of this. You can see where the green screen's kind of taken away. But this gorgeous purple, kind of bluish spirit board has got some crystals up top, and look at this. It lights up. Look at how badass. Look at that. Look how badass that is. And if I'm not mistaken, the lettering, even when you turn it off, if you lose power, the lettering will glow in the dark. So badass. I love this. Terry Lynn outdid herself. She makes these boards. They're just gorgeous. They're amazing. We've got a few different designs, but mainly we love this narwhal design. So it just makes for some really pretty boards. Here's another sort of a darker smoky. It's got like a smoky white background. Makes it look like you have spirits trapped in there. I really wish you guys could see the detail. I'm going to have to take some high-def photos and show you guys. But, of course, some gorgeous, almost like bluish, kind of purple on angles, this gorgeous lettering. I love it. Again, this one lights up as well. So not all of our boards light up, but we have a couple special boards. These are awesome. So if you want to do some things in the dark room, things like that, guys, this is going to be awesome. You're going to love this. And of course, the planchettes will match. The planchettes aren't going to light up, but they're going to be matching planchettes, like similar in design, things like that. So love it. We're also looking at, this is just a prototype, but we're going to have, this is my original design as well. This is called the Dragon Board. So you guys can see here, and this is wood. Right? This is laser etched, but this can be, I'm looking at actually staining this. This may be actually like a red stained board because dragons, red, fire, So I'm looking at doing a red stain on this. I hope to show you guys something even cooler. This is like, again, just kind of a prototype. So we're going to have some cool things, but Terry Lynn makes those resin boards and they're just absolutely gorgeous. So stunning. I really do. I love them. We got a couple of designs that we have as well. But we're going to have some original type designs that we're going to be there. So that's going to be some of the stuff. So if you want like a unique, original, one-of-a-kind board, we are going to be selling those in Knoxville, and we are going to be getting our online store up and running here real soon. We've been stocking the hell out of things, creating things, experimenting, but we just don't want to like throw any old thing up there. We're trying to really create some amazing stuff and try to get it out to you guys soon. So we'll have that for you. Terry Lynn said, yeah, she worked her butt off on that. Also, the whole board is glow in the dark too. So yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it's also going to be glow in the dark. Now, we were looking at black light reactive paints as well. The problem is, now we may have to look at trying. We might. I think Terry Lynn may try to do some, because I know Stacy was talking about a lot of seances, a lot of things using spirit boards. They will use black light during a lot of seances. So we are looking at doing some lettering with black light. It's just that type of paint, the neon paints that react to black light and resin, it's kind of weird. So I did some experimenting, and it comes out really weird as far as the body. Like when you look at Terry Lynn's boards, and you see like the white background, the smokiness, where it's like a smoky effect. Like you couldn't do that with neon paints. If you tried to mix the neon in here, it comes out clumpy and spotty. It just don't mix well. So we've tried. So we may have to just look at only the lettering being blacklight reflective, and maybe doing like a few boards like that where they light up. The light up boards are thicker than the normal boards. Or you may not even want lights in it. You just may want a gorgeous board. But we're going to look at offering. There's going to come a point, guys, when you'll be able to sort of pick, like, hey, I would like a resin board with the skull design, the Dragon Force, or like the narwhal, or like the pentagram ones or pentacle ones. We're going to have some choices where you'll be able to pick like a layout, and then we'll probably offer where you can pick colors, like a color scheme. Like, I'd like one that's kind of, purple and blues, or dark purple, or light colors, pinks and greens or whatever. We'll probably try to offer a few different like colors, and maybe even a few crystal options. And again, we'll probably try to offer some different custom options where you can kind of pick, and then Terry Lynn will be able to actually take your overall layout, the colors you want, the crystals that you like, and put it all together for you in like that kind of custom creation. And then guess what? And then you'll have your own custom board. And we may even look at actually maybe even putting your name, or things like that, or custom wood boards where we can put business logos. If you wanted to have like a dragon board, but you wanted to say like Stacy in here or something, something like that. But Terry Lynn's like, looking in the blacklight pigment powders, found them, issue solved. I'm so smart. Tara. So yeah, and hey, Tara snuck in there. Hey Tara. But yes, the blacklight pigment powders, we'll have to check them out and see if maybe that'll, maybe we can do some cool blacklight reactive boards with the pigment powders. Maybe that might make a difference. So, but we are working on those things. We want to be able to customize. Oh, and that's the other thing, is you might be able to say, like, pick your lettering, your color, your lettering colors. So if you want them glow in the dark, we have some different options for coloring. You want blacklight reflective lettering, we have some different colors, or we'll eventually have it. So we're going to try to do those things. We'll try to have those custom options for you. Right now we're just making sort of a variety, and we'll have pictures, and that way people can say, oh, I like the way these colors look. It'll give you some good ideas, and you can custom order in the near future. And now we have a laser etcher, like that's why you see the wood boards and stuff. So that'll be pretty cool. So anyway, I just thought we'd take a detour and talk a little bit about what all we got coming up, and things like that. So again, Knoxville, end of August, CreepyCon. I hope to see you guys there. That'd be really cool. I don't know if Stacy probably won't be driving up here to Tennessee, but it would be a good time if you wanted to come visit. This would be the good time to come up at the end of August and come up and come to CreepyCon with us and come hang out. Then people could see both the hosts from the Everything Paranormal Show.
Well, it'd be nice. It's, I'm expecting all hell to break loose between now and then, but
it always is. It always is.
Yeah.
I think there's always going to be hell breaking loose nowadays. Folks, I just want to say too, like, look, in today's world, I don't want to get too much into politics on this show. I do have another YouTube channel where I do discuss more politics and things. I haven't been doing a whole lot because I got a 90-day suspension because it seems like no matter what you say nowadays, it's misinformation, even if it's facts. But
sky is blue. Misinformation.
Right. If certain people don't want the sky to be blue, then if you say it's blue, then it's misinformation, even though there's a certain fact or whatever. Anyways, so the point is, I just want to pass on this channel to viewers that just be careful of all the things that you see, because the greatest thing that the bad guys do, I just say bad guys in general, is they love to dangle the sparkly stuff and the glittery, all the things that are impressive, that catch your eye, and that are sensational. It's usually meant as a distraction. Okay? Johnny Depp trial, all these things. There's a reason why certain things are broadcast when other things aren't. There's a reason why certain events happen and there's a big deal about them while others they're not, because they know they're distracting you with that dangly sparkly thing, like, ooh, look over here, look at Ukraine, ooh, look at Johnny Depp trial, ooh, look at, you know what, UFOs exist, come on, look over here. Yeah, don't worry about all that other crap, look over here, UFOs exist, hello, like, this is big news. Of course, we're all going, look, we already knew this anyways. We all knew you were all full of hiding that shit anyways, so you ain't really fooling us. But my point is, guys, be careful. Again, I'm trying not to get too deep. I just wanted you guys, my viewers, the people I care about, to not fall so much for some of these big sensational stories. When you see things like alien invasions and things, I know, like, even my wife is catching wind, Terry Lynn's catching wind about alien invasion stuff and things like that. But just remember that when you hear these amazing stories or sensational stories, stop and take a look at what else is going on at that moment. Okay? What laws or bills or executive orders are being passed at that same time? You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised to find out what's happening with, say, our government or other things, when these other things are going on and nobody's talking about this bill or executive order that's passed and it has some crazy law or some craziness going on in it. So just be careful, folks. That's all I'm saying. When you see these things, it's hard. I get caught up in them too. It's like emotional. You just like, what, UFOs? Yeah, let's check it out, man. UFOs, and then you got to stop and you got to say, wait a minute, that's cool, but what else is going on? Okay. And then that's when you usually find out some other things. Okay.
Yeah. And the 2 weeks before 9/11, the big story that the media, all the media channels were focused on was shark attacks. You know, people were getting chomped up by sharks apparently at the beach. And it was like all the Shark Week was going on right before that. And everybody was all freaking out that the, surfer girl who got her leg bitten off and she still, surfed back home and all that. Even wrote a book later. But for 2 weeks prior to 9/11, that's all the media was talking about, was people who were being eaten by sharks. Nothing else was going on in the world that was very important, apparently, until 9/11. And, even Donald Rumsfeld, the day before on the 10th, he was gonna audit the Pentagon because they were buying too many tanks that the government didn't want or need. $10 billion worth of stuff he was going to remove from the budget, then audit and find out where that money went. And then suddenly the next day, that was no longer important. So,
yeah. Yeah. And so there's a lot of distractions that we could, again, this is things I want to get into on our political channel, but it's like, I want to so bad. It's like things you have to get off your chest. And so try not to let it bleed through on the paranormal channel too much, but I care about you guys. I care about you guys out there that are watching. And I just want you guys to be safe and to not get sucked into the BS. Remove labels. Seriously, try to remove labels from yourself. Democrat, Republican, all this stuff. Try to remove those labels. Try to remove that stuff and just look at the facts in front of you on each subject. That's all I'm saying. Seek the truth, right? I say that at the end of every show. Seek the truth. It stays like peace, right?
Yeah.
We want those things. We want peace. We want happiness. We want to seek the truth, though. And when you find those things, like you said, you'll be surprised.
Buy some rice and beans.
Yeah, buy some rice and beans. Take Stacey's survival course. So, but yeah, as we wrap up on the back side of things, we have a late show. It's been an hour. It's 11:38, so it's been an hour. And as we wrap up, if you guys have any last minute things you want to pop in there real quick, but I'm excited for some upcoming events, guys. I know Para Explorers, my original series on Paraflix. We debuted episode 2. It's been going great. It's been in the trending category. And we are editing episode 3. Like I said, I've actually gone on 4 missions. I've been through 4 episodes of the Para X quest. So it's been crazy. I've survived the challenges, and I can't wait for you to see the different locations. Again, I'm working on episode 3, so hopefully you guys will see that. I'm hoping to have, honestly, both episode 3 and episode 4 before Paracon at the end of August. I hope they're out and released to the public. I've got some other things. There's something I got kind of a weird email. So Stacey, I'll have to share this with you. It's not really an email, but I got this weird direct message from a viewer. And supposedly they claim that they have created the very first portal to the afterlife. I don't know. It's kind of a weird claim, but supposedly they're talking about shipping it to me. I don't know. It's weird. I guess I would be curious to know how you could do that. It's scary, and it's something that they're going to ship to me. So that sounds odd.
Yeah. I wouldn't put my face near it when you start it up.
I don't know what it is. That's the problem. I have no idea. I cannot imagine like a portal that you would ship this. Is this thing going to come in? Is this going to be like some huge Stargate thing that's going to show up on my front lawn? There's like some semi with a flatbed's going to pull up, and there's like this big circular Stargate, and it's like, what the hell? My neighbors would be like, what is that? Like, don't worry, it's just a huge portal to hell or whatever, afterlife somewhere to the other side. I don't know. I have no idea what to expect, but guys, I'll keep you posted on that. So I just thought I'd share that with you. Other than that, I think Bob had some great topics tonight, some good in-depth thoughts about the universe in general, space and things. So I think that's always cool when we talk about spirit guides and spirit guide qualifications or the future of Earth. I'm not sure what do you think? I would say that if humanity, if there was some type of apocalypse and there was just pockets of people left, I'm sure that this Earth would get very, very overgrown. I think there'd be a lot of trees and plants, and because half the time, just in a couple of years, I've seen when some of these homes and buildings get abandoned, and all of a sudden there's just vines growing over, and next thing you know, they're almost completely uncovered. It's like the Earth is literally taking back all the stuff. Now you could chop that stuff back, but I think you definitely would have a lot of overgrowth in a lot of places. It'd be pretty wild. I would love to almost. Think about it. We are digging up cities from 6,000 or 10,000 years ago. Cities, right? So imagine if there was an apocalypse and whatever, and then 6 or 8 more thousand years from now, right? The year 10,000 or something. It's in the year 10,000 AD, there's people going around and digging up, and then they come across, they're like, look at this whole huge ancient statue of some lady holding a torch. It's like the Statue of Liberty, but it's buried, and it's no longer, it was, there used to be water, there used to be a harbor here, and all this other stuff. The future people would talk about the geography of what it used to be back in the the 2000s or something. You know what I mean? Like it's mind boggling to think about those type of things.
Well, History Channel did a whole series on that called After People. Okay.
Is this show Stacy or show the world?
How come almost?
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can.
Share a screen.
I'm still holding the phone up to my freaking ear. Okay, hold on. Okay.
Almost every ancient civilization which talks of beings that came from the sky also says they came down in flying craft. From the Anunnaki whirlwinds and literally one of the oldest recorded civilizations to Ezekiel and the flying wheels, literally from the Old Testament, to Enoch with the flying fiery chariot and the flying palace, not only from the book of Enoch, but also from Genesis. To the coffin texts in Egypt where flying crafts literally picked up princesses and flew them halfway across the world. To the lower caves in India, which shows a Vimana or a flying craft piloted by strange beings and people looking up at it. Many ancient Sanskrit texts, literally thousands of years old, talk about these flying Vimanas, which were anti-gravity craft that could fly through the air with no sound. Not only do they resemble NASA shuttles, were piloted by four-armed blue-skinned beings. And I almost forgot the Book of Ethiopia and King Solomon with his flying machine. But you get the point. Flying chariots, flying palaces, and flying machines. What? Were our ancestors visited by otherworldly beings?
Okay. So, Stacey, you want to?
Yeah, well, first of all, there's a misnomer in the art here. They have like 8 arms and stuff. That's not what they're depicting. If you have a still picture and you wanted to depict motion, you do it in several stages. I mean, people do that with cartoons on being able to go from one to the next to the next to the next in frame. You know,
Right.
that's basically what they're describing is motion. That's how they would depict dancers. They would have like 8 legs and 4 arms. What they're showing you is how the motion of the dance is supposed to flow. Not that they had 8 legs. It was, this is where your legs are supposed to be in relation to other stuff. So
When they drop the beat,
yeah.
Step one. I'm sorry.
You know, they pick up one thing, they drop another, they're holding another thing, they're shifting it from one hand to the next, you know, and it looks like they have all of these arms and all of these legs, and that's not what they're depicting. It's called a tableau, and that's the tableau in the art. And you know, the Hindu were notorious for it, and nobody ever understood what they were doing. They thought the goddess actually looked like that. It's not true. It's, you know, showing how the goddess was always moving and how she moved and what she did when she moved.
So basically, like all the old paintings on the tombs, they do the sun dance. They do the sand dance. Don't you know?
Yeah, well, that's how they depict them is their motion, their, which is just as important. You know, having the god, the deity, and showing how they move was just as important because they were physical beings. People saw them as physical beings, the blue skins and all of that. They saw them in the flesh, and they were trying to show how they moved.
Well, I just quoted the first couple lines of "Walk Like an Egyptian" by the Bangles, but in that sense, it would almost make sense because they are talking about the old paintings on the tomb. They do the sand, right? They do the sand dance, so it would show you the motions of how to walk like an Egyptian or whatever, like how to do that dance. So I just thought that's what it reminded me of when you were telling me like the old instructions. I was like that just popped in my head.
Yeah,
but you're right.
Egyptians were different in the way that they did stuff. The hieroglyphs were more like emojis than they were actual words.
Right.
They had meaning to them that was deeper than the actual graphic itself. As a matter of fact, statues were actually entire sentences just by the statue. Because if you notice in hieroglyph, you have an arm holding a vase or holding an incense, and then another one you have a foot, and then another one you have, all these different emojis essentially in hieroglyph. But the statue of that deity was a sum of its parts. It was an entire prayer based off of how that deity was standing, sitting, moving, positioned, whatever, all had an actual language to it. And it wasn't just representative of, hey, that's Isis. No, Isis is saying something by what she is doing and
Our ancestors visited by us.
Right.
So,
well,
I mean, very complex.
Well, okay, so moving beyond that, let's dive more into what he talked about, what Terry Lynn was wanting to maybe know a little more too. So, other than artist interpretation of movement, I think we can agree on. I think the main focus on what he's talking about is the overall, like, when I say the truth lies somewhere in the middle all the time, right? So overall, there's these different civilizations depicting these similar type flying machines, right? So regardless of like artistry of their hands and motion and stuff like that, there is something else to be said about that.
Yes. Well, that's where I was going with this. In the art where the tableau is at, the symbol of flying was always represented by wings. We take it now that angels have wings because that's how they're depicted. It was just representative of communicating the idea that they flew, that they went through the air, that it was a physical thing, they were not bound to the earth. Right. And the only way that you can express that universally is like they had wings, even though the wings weren't there. It was just.
And they actually, the angels were not female. They're actually, the angels were all male, and that's another reason why they fell in love with female humans. Anyway, so yes, there's a lot of depictions that get skewed over time to symbolize things or represent things, or people projecting themselves into those images. So are you saying that all these cultures are really just saying, hey, we have a chariot and we have wings on it? It's not an actual flying machine that we're depicting, but that this is an elevated king's chariot that everybody's looking up to, not looking up to the sky, but maybe they're looking up as in respect. Are you saying this is like an artist's interpretation, or are you saying that there could be literally alien or flying machines?
Flying machines.
Okay.
They witnessed flying machines. There's in ancient hieroglyph, even in some of the paintings, they had flying machines of their own. The hot air balloon is not a new thing. They look like upside down pyramids, but they have flying machines or balloons that they had back in the day. It was, very crude, but they have depictions of that in Egypt. Nothing is new under the sun. We just rediscovered stuff that was, had already been done. I mean, ancient aliens they go into it, that's actually just a bee that they, trying to depict a bee or a bird. It was a bird. That's what they're really trying to depict there. No, it's a flying craft because it has a stabilizing fin. Birds don't have a stabilizing fin. It is flying craft, and they saw these things. So, history doesn't lie. It just, people try and, put a square peg in a round hole in order to make it fit their narrative of what, because, we want to get the idea that we are the pinnacle of human evolution. We are the latest, greatest thing that has ever come about. No, we're just starting over and rediscovering stuff that they'd already done, you know.
Right.
And they didn't brag about it back then. It was just a matter of fact.
Well, I will say, like, I don't know if I want to, but like, let's go back here real quick.
Otherworldly beings.
So,
How come almost every ancient civilization which talks of beings that came from this?
so again, you can see there's the wing depiction, like you're talking about.
Yeah, and he's holding a pine cone. That's
Right.
important too.
Right, and
That-
of course, yeah.
Pine-
I'm sure every detail is probably important about his headdress, his facial beards with the jewelry, all that stuff. I'm sure it tells something about that individual, right?
Well, no, the pine cone represents the pineal gland. It's the third eye in your brain. It is basically the communication that you have with, your psychic side, with the universe itself. That third eye. If you look at the pine cone, the giant pine cone in the courtyard of the Vatican, it's the same thing. The secret code of the pine cone is code for the pineal gland.
Right.
Ancient religions all over the world point to it, going all the way back to Babylon.
Well, let's let me look at something here. There's
Also says they came down and
okay, so I'm going to pause right here. Actually, I wasn't going to wait till another section, but if you look when he's kind of showing some of these things, so yeah, I mean, I know like up here, if you can see my cursor, the Rukma, looks a lot like an Apollo landing craft, things like that. Now, of course, we do get design inspirations from things in life, but now I also want to point out that where is it? Hold on, maybe it's
craft. From the Anunnaki whirlwinds and literally one of the oldest recorded civilizations to Ezekiel and the flying wheels, literally from the Old Testament, the Enoch with the flying fiery chariot and the flying palace, not only from the book of Enoch, but also from Genesis, to the coffin texts in Egypt where flying crafts literally picked up princesses and flew them halfway across the world, to the Laura caves in India, which shows up.
I mean, this is, of course, you can see they're in this deal here with the wings, but I just wanted to stop there real quick. But that's pretty wild.
Vimana are a flying craft piloted by strange beings and people looking up at it. Many ancient Sanskrit texts, literally thousands of years old, talk about these flying Vimanas, which were anti-gravity craft.
So I did want to stop here a little bit, just because it, to me, when you look at a few of these, this reminds me of when you and I did that show talking about Bob Lazar, right? Mm-hmm. And Bob Lazar was talking about how when he was the one of the few times he was walking through the hangar at not really Area 51, but like his section there.
Yeah.
But Area 51, let's just say that. But he was walking through the hangar and they had like all the inner doors all opened up and he saw like 9 different models of aircraft. And he described even one as kind of like a jello mold, one like a straw hat kind of shape. And if you really look at some of these, you can almost see something like that, that kind of almost jello mold or straw hat kind of look, things like that. So it just makes me wonder if like if it's all connected, that some of these depictions from the ancient cultures were something like what Bob Lazar saw. Some of these really were UFOs with these anti-gravity type machines. Even he talks about, this kid's talking about how a lot of these scriptures talk about these anti-gravity machines. So a lot of it does seem like it could connect. I mean, what do you think about when you see these ancient things and you also hear things from Bob Lazar? What do you think about that?
Well, it would make sense on a lot of different levels too, because I shouldn't say every, but most ancient myths about not only ancient technology, but humanity itself is that we are the remnants of different alien races. The 5 races on Earth are all foreign, coming from different civilizations. I don't know how true that is. DNA wise, doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you can barely tell one race from another through DNA. the differences are so minute that it's not even worth talking about on a DNA level. However, these texts say the same kind of thing. That was the main thrust between Germany's occult practices and what they thought the master race was all about. Was that they were the fifth race to come about, which makes them superior somehow.
Right.
But it would make sense that the craft from each one of these things would be different. Again, my theory, when we first talked about it, could be that there's just different models of the same civilization just over time. Instead of having the Model T, you've got a Corvette. It's
yeah. I mean, I can see that. It is fascinating, and I'm glad. Thank you, Terry Lynn, for sharing that video with everybody. It's always cool, especially with today's thoughts. I guess with Bob's deep thought email that he sent me of different things with the universe. So, and even alien stuff. So, kind of fits the narrative tonight. Good job, honey. So yeah, I think, and we've touched a little bit on, but it's good to see a video where this kid, kind of summarized and took some of the different things. And I think there's even more depictions, if I'm not mistaken. Like there's gray alien type depictions, and other type things as well. I mean, you probably could have done a longer video. Like I know it was TikTok, but I'm sure there's probably even videos out there of people that put together a ton of ancient alien evidence in a video. So we may have to do something like that. I know I told you guys that we're probably going to have to start doing some reaction videos, kind of like this. We're going to have to like pull up some of these videos, and you and I are going to have to like walk through, react to some of these things, and we'll have to do some stuff like this for sure in the future. So, honey, if you're still listening, Terry Lynn, you're going to have to like come up with some other videos for us as well in the future that you want us to break down, paranormal videos, whatever. And we'll have to just check things out. We'll have to do that. I think that'd be fun. I always forgot. I forgot like last time. I wanted to do that last time we did a thing, and I forgot. So, so good job. All right, so I think we'll go ahead. Let's start wrapping things up. It's 12 o'clock. We did almost an hour and a half show. We started it super late, so it's late. Everybody's getting tired.
Ancestors visited by other.
Shut up. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna have to close him down here. All right, get that off there. All right, guys. So for those of you that watched this show, for those of you that stuck it out or watched this replay, I hope you learned something. I hope you got to pick up some cool things. I thought we gave some good information tonight. I think we answered a lot of things. I just want to say thank you again to Bob. But yeah, Darylyn's like, I got a few videos for you to see, laugh out loud. Yes, she's like the queen of videos. Like this is how this is like for the last several years, I think. She used to always stockpile videos for me, like, hey, like she was the one that found a lot of like she's the one that found John with Exploration Unknown. She found like a bunch of these YouTubers that she'd be like, oh, check this guy out. Check this guy out. Check this guy. Maybe you can talk to him. Maybe he's cool. This guy's kind of local. Check him out. So props to her on that. So Iniga's family, thanks for sticking it out with us. Always good to see you in the chat. She's like, because I'm awesome. Yes, Terry Lynn, you are amazing. Amazing. I love you. Amazing. You are an amazing woman. But yes, guys, we'll do some more. We'll do some more video breakdowns for you guys. Some interesting things. Maybe Terry can find some cool breakdown type videos for us. Maybe paranormal. I don't know. We'll see what she comes up with us, and she can send me some links for the next show. Maybe we'll do a surprise show. We still got to do a makeup show for last week, I think. So, Terry said Stacy. That's all she said. Said Stacy. So I bought a huge bottle of Florida water.
Nice.
Oh, and I think she said something about Florida
I
water.
go through so much of that stuff. It's
I think she said something about Florida water soap. Is that true, honey? You said, didn't you say something about Florida water
yeah,
soap?
they got it in soap. They've got it in bath bombs. You know, you drop it in and it bubbles up and it makes the whole bath smell really awesome. Yeah, all the ingredients are there. The only difference between the bottled water, the Florida water, is that it's mostly rubbing alcohol. Um, but you get it in other forms too, because
Yes,
soap.
yes, about the soap. Love it. And that's what I'm saying. She just told me about the soap recently, so I'm looking forward to maybe using it myself as well. Because I mean, most of all that soap we get, like all the commercial soaps, is like so much chemicals in it. It's horrible. I would love to. I would love to do the Dr. Squatch soaps. You ever seen that, Stacy? The Dr.
Yeah.
Squatch. I mean, I love the commercials. They're freaking hilarious. You know, they're
That guy is a master salesman. He's done all kinds of different stuff.
Right, but he's great. I love it. And the first few videos here were just they were amazing. Anyways, but it's true though. Like there's so many products that we use that have these chemicals and they're really bad for us. I mean, it like between the foods we eat, the soaps, the government's trying to kill us. I mean, for real. Cancer, all these things they sell, pharmaceutical. You need something to counteract that cancer. Of course, we secretly gave it to you, but anyways,
right.
Misinformation. Don't believe any word I said, folks. Fact checkers, don't listen to me. I'm lying about everything. So, but I do. I think Dr. Squatch, some like natural soaps and things. I really would love to get in there, but it's like a little costly for me right now. Take on even more expenses, Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, how do you balance that with your health? But I'd love to try some of the Dr. Squatch soaps. I thought about trying like to get a sample, because but then when Terry Lynn told me that she got that Florida water soap, apparently there's a lot of natural ingredients in that and stuff. So,
so you can make it yourself. They have recipes for it.
I keep joking with Terry Lynn that I was going to make our own. I was like, I'm going to make soaps. I'm going to start making soaps. And we were seeing that every time we were going to pick up stuff for like resin or, picking up stuff for like the spirit boards and all the other crafting stuff that we're doing. I keep seeing like stuff for like to put in for soaps and natural, the because you see a lot of the same, almost like form factors, like the resin, soap stuff. So I'm just like, I'm gonna start making my soaps, whatever. So I do joke about it, but yeah.
You can't go into a witchy poo store down here in New Orleans without buying some soap. Everybody makes their own soap down here. It's just part of the voodoo culture is, handmade soap, and they're all different. They do different things as far as blessings and good luck and different things like that. And some of them smell really good and some of them smell like ass, but they're all supposed to do something different. So you use the soap differently in that regard.
I'd be afraid, man. Pick up the one that's supposed to be like a curse on me and my skin falls off.
No, it removes curses. The ones that remove curses are the ones that smell like ass. And, that's the only way they can get them to be used and sold. This is all good for me. It's like medicine, even though you wouldn't in your wildest dreams do it voluntarily for any other reason. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I have mixed opinions about things that you should do that don't smell good or taste good, because usually that's your body's way of saying, look, do not do this. Do not do this. Do not. Yeah. It smells bad. There's a reason why your body's saying no. And
yes
so
and no. I mean, all medicine tastes like ass.
That's why all this health. That's why all this fucking health food that they keep trying to sell me on. It's not healthy. It's not. They're bastardizing natural food, making this false product, and then it tastes like cardboard. And even your body's saying, like, and you're not. They just keep telling you, no, eat it and be happy. Shut the hell up and eat it and be happy. And you're just like, it tastes like poop, but it's supposed to be healthy. It's all fiber. It's all bran. It's all cardboard. I mean, I hate it. I don't do
for
it.
some people, and by and large, you're right. But some people, they have got all their chemicals out of whack, so they don't understand when something is actually good for you doesn't taste good because what's bad for you tastes too good. Especially when you talk about sugar and aspartame and all that other kind of stuff. That's there to trick your body into eating something that is bad for you. It's
yeah, I agree on that. I do. I agree on that too. But
you can't go from something really sweet and sugary to like meat. It just doesn't. It makes the meat taste like ass. So it's kind of where you're at chemically yourself. If you're all out of whack,
when I did that elimination diet and I got rid of sugar and carbs and all that stuff, I mean, it was pretty wild because even like, what was it? I was up to like 80 some percent dark chocolate, like cacao or something. Normally it's like really bitter.
Right.
But once you give up regular sugar and all that other crap, at some point you eat a piece of that cacao and it's like, this isn't that bad. It's kind of a treat because it's you know what I mean? You've gotten rid of all that horrible bullshit. And then when you eat something natural like that, that's more bitter,
Right.
even though there's like a tinge of real sugar in there because it's not 100%. But again, it's that proportional, deal. So says I'm going to make you all watch another video. Not right now, honey. We're not going to do it. We're all going to get off. But but no, seriously, honey, you just line up some links. Don't just bomb them with me because I'll lose them by the time next week comes. But come up with some videos, put the links aside, and then hit me up with them before the show next week. That way, we'll do some reaction to some videos. Like we'll go through and watch a video, pause it, talk about it, things like that. We'll do some breakdown stuff, so reaction videos. So, all right, guys, love it. Glad you're here. You guys came here. We love you. Please keep hanging in there, coming to our shows. We love you guys. You guys are awesome. We couldn't do this show without you guys. And again, my wife's awesome, Terry Lynn. But guys, Bob Fountain, I'm sorry that you didn't make it here tonight, but I'm hoping you're watching this on replay. Thank you for the topics. Loved talking about them. Thanks for Iniga's family and even Tara showing up and what's her name? Tandy Molnar. So popped in there. I think those were everybody that popped in the live chat. So other than that, folks, we'll see you next week. We're going to try to do this next week, hopefully 9 p.m. regular time. That's when we usually do this. And we'll see you next week. In the meantime, while you're waiting to see us next week, seek the truth.
Peace.